Cyberpunk 2077. The myth, the legend, the disappointment. That's what everyone wants to say anyway about a title that's 8 years in waiting, that it should not deliver any glitches or issues with it, and it should be the perfect game in delivery. I'm not going to tell you that. That is not what I expect after 25 years of gaming and playing games on release. I have never once seen a perfect launch from a single open world title, and for that matter, I still experience many glitches from everyone's favorite titles when it comes to open world gaming. Whether it's Skyrim with the Giant's Blow, GTA with the invisible helicopter falling into the ground in Red Dead, or witnessing a hooker's exorcism in The Witcher 3, every game has a glitch. I could go on, but I won't, because for me, I don't judge a game based solely on a perfect playthrough experience. I would even go as far as to argue that some glitches and imperfections can make the gameplay that much more enjoyable. Nothing quite like your partner in crime telling you that you have to keep it quiet and calm, and then loudly tripping over a dead body because of collision glitches in the game. Yet, I would not take this away for a moment. This is all part of the better experience in video games, enjoying these moments that are actually not supposed to take place, and enjoying them for what they are. The glitches make the game in some cases, and when it comes to Cyberpunk, what we want to talk about today is simply things that they could have done better besides the obvious. I'm not going to talk about the simple things that'll be fixed within the fourth and fifth patch. I'm simply going to talk about the experience, the immersion, the love for the game that I have regardless, and what they can do to actually improve on it outside of the glitches.
Yeah, it went perfect, and Razor lost.
Now, let's talk first things first, the positives. The smart place, if you will, of Cyberpunk 2077. The story mode itself is fantastic, period. Keanu Reeves does a fantastic job of being the main side character of the story, and it almost becomes like asking someone for an opinion on the roles that you are playing while you're playing them and as the story progresses.
Then don't hit that fucking button. Destroy the core.
It's almost equivalent to being forever alone in an RPG, but still having that weird friend to talk about the game with. And Keanu's Johnny is definitely a very weird character.
Just like me, isn't it? Getting trapped in the brain of Night City's dumbest merc.
No, just maybe this cop's flying straight in your pants.
The characters you meet along the way, even in the side stories, that have no real attachment to your personal character, definitely feel like they are living their own lives outside of your involvement in conversations.
User, I have assisted you in killing over 50 people. Stone Cold Killer mode has been deactivated. From this point on, only puppy-loving pacifist will be available. Thank you.
Even more so, the game always feels like you are needing more when you finish the main missions and side quests, which is a sign of any good game or movie.
Why? Why is it blocked?
Opening frequently asked questions. Item, why can't I kill more than 50 people? Answer, the fuck is wrong with you? Please go see a therapist, you psycho. Note to self, rewrite later. Do not forget.
This brought me right back in for a second and third playthrough right after completion of my first game. CD Projekt Red's ability when it comes to storytelling and world building is just about flawless. Even the advertisements that I see on the television sets make me Google the stories to see if there's any more lore to be had regarding some of the different commercials that you will hear when you pass a TV screen or radio.
With desire, do anything to scratch every itch. Watch the Ball. New episodes every Wednesday at 10, only for WN.
This is also true for the small data pads that you pick up when completing missions, wanting more of the background of things that you simply never get a chance to discover. At least, not yet. Now let's talk about the improvements that can take place on Cyberpunk 2077. All of my playthroughs in game took place on the very hard side. What you immediately feel as V is a sense of hopelessness. When the game kicks off, guns, swords, fists, they don't do much of any damage to the opposition right away. It seems like nothing can do the right amount of damage, and therefore the sneaky and grabby style gameplay is the only style of gameplay that's really solid for early game. Then, as you get into the late game, all of a sudden, you're a god to every enemy that you come into contact with. This, combined with a level 50 cutoff, makes the game almost feel like the developers don't expect you to grind and complete every quest that they have designed for you. With this complaint, also comes the talent trees of the game. The level 50 cap also applies to the attributes that you can choose from. Unfortunately, that means that even with every quest done and nothing left to do in Night City and its outskirts, you'll never get to see the benefit of over what half is actually in the skill tree. In most similar RPG titles, with late game comes the experience of getting to taste all of the game's content, and it would be nice to see that with Cyberpunk 2077. While the quests and side missions are incredibly fun and lively, I couldn't help but want a little more out of them each and every time. I felt like a big setup that the game delivered was in the gang aspects. You have the beautiful yet powerful Moxes, the secretive and tech-heavy Voodoo Boys, the disgusting underground tech-worshipping Maelstrom, the Asian-dominated Tiger Claws, the buff and hand-to-hand only animals, and the red and white and blue sporting 6th Street, not to mention the Hispanic loud and proud Valentinos. The main quest has you run in with each of these groups at least once, but it would have been nice had there been actual side quest story paths that would have allowed you to team up, lead, or even destroy these gangs altogether. Instead, they're just random NPCs in certain parts of territories that you kill when they get in your way. This must be something that they do in a future DLC. Night City can feel way more alive with the quests that focus on things like these. If you haven't yet played Cyberpunk 2077, I want you to think of an experience in Elder Scrolls, but not having the Companion Clan, the Brotherhood, the Thieves Guild, or even the Mages Guild series of side quests. For me, these are all incredibly important in building the overall experience of the world that you're in while you're playing it. It would have been nice to have a more personal approach to quest and mission givers. You could tell the developers did not want you to feel like you were wasting too much time with a ton of fast travel spots and the addition of the cell phone to their game, but at times it just made the game feel lazy. You meet all of these fixers once you travel into their territory because they immediately somehow have your number and hit you up on FaceTime right away. Then they just start throwing quests at you. No personal interaction, no real trust factor marked a fixer, and just a quick cellular phone call.
Take it or fuck off.
Early in the game, your first big mission, you are literally tracked down by Dexter, a fixer who wants to hit you with all the fancy words and make sure that you are down for the gig that can potentially make you all rich. This is the experience that I would hope for with the other fixers of Night City. Some sort of personal yet quick interaction that, again, with enough quests completed, could have led to some sort of side quest approach for the fixer that you're helping the most. This has got to be a big focus for the game because you do feel like you come to know these fixers with just the cellular approach, and the characters deserve that much more in the game. When I sat down to think about this game as a whole, the 170 hours that I sunk into it since launch, these are my only complaints. And that speaks to me how good the game actually is. Yes, there were glitches, but as of writing this review and creating this video, there have already been 5 patches from the developer to fix the majority of them. The fact that I spent all of this time in the game and all I wanted to do was more leveling and more side quests speaks volumes to me about how badly the game was being treated, not to mention the developers. I still remember my first playthrough with Skyrim. I only had one save file and got to the very end of the Dragon Claw cave leading up to the main boss fight of the main storyline. The cave would not open. It just stuck there, and the developers responded in the forums by saying that they're aware of it, but the best fix at this time was revert to a previous save until the glitch managed to go away. I had no previous save. The autosave was in the cave, and my save was in the cave. I had nothing to fall back on. I had to wait 3 months for the developers to actually fix the glitch itself until I was able to finish that particular save playthrough. Yet, I was fully satisfied to start another playthrough within minutes, and this time learned to save multiple slots every few hours. For us here at Smart Play, Cyberpunk has earned 4 out of 5 possible Smart Play achievements, where today we based on story, multiplayer, action, the replay value, and the time for completion. While the quest needs some work, I have no doubt that this will be eventually approached in future DLCs, and overall content will be delivered. There is so much to do in one playthrough right now, it's impossible to feel like you haven't gotten your money's worth. But we are deducting one potential point because the game needs that extra content in order to feel more immersive in the game. I have no doubt that this will be approached in the near future, and in 9 months to a year that this game will be one of the very best ever created. That will do it from us here at Smart Play Productions. Thank you all again so much for tuning in. I know that we talked about a lot today in a short time, so if you made it all the way here to this point, thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe and like the video, but also tell me in the comments below what you loved to see in the game and what you would like to see in the future. As always, guys, be safe, and remember, make the smart plays.